seems ages since your last match. How much have you had to sort of think about, ponder over the last couple of weeks after that one?
Yeah, it's a shame it didn't come around in a week's time, did it? It would have been nice to get back on the horse a lot quicker. But look, at the end of the day, we've sort of understood there was going to be, you know, a couple of weeks till the next game. So we've sort of just focused on ourselves really, and just trying to get back to what we do best. So that's been the kind of main sort of theme.
Where have been the areas that you've worked on after that game against Doncaster? What was it you felt was lacking?
Oh, I think we lacked in the effort areas. We lacked intent and purpose in our actions. You know, I thought we saw some good signs when the bench came on. I thought the bench did a tremendous job for us against Doncaster. I thought they really turned it for us and got us back on task. But but again, for me, it was just a combination of too many errors, penalties, back to back, which put us under pressure, and I just felt we lacked that sort of energy, intent and purpose in our actions consistently throughout the game. So combination of those couple of factors. So yeah, it was a disappointing one for us, and we know that. We've addressed it as a group. It wasn't up to our standards, and we've just been focusing on us. This past week, we're having no game and just getting back to doing what we do best, and then obviously now we're building into Toulouse this week.
Have you looked at the discipline side of things? And I mean in a penalty sense more than anything. If you say there was too many penalties given away, have you been working on that?
Oh, of course we have, yeah. I mean, we were working it all through pre-season, to be honest, because we're aware that the RFL or the match official were going to clamp down on certain areas of our game, particularly around the marker area, around the ruck, obviously play the ball. So of course we've practiced and we've worked on those areas, within. But again, we're not the only team that's come into grips with this. Plenty of other teams have been, penalised and and had to sort of, take that on the chin, I guess. But yeah, we have to be better, and we're continuing to reinforce that at training. But there's not much more you can do other than that, and then obviously it's down to players to execute that on the day.
So on to your match, Toulouse. That's never an easy game, is it, either home or away against them?
No, they're a good side. Look, they were last year's grand finalists for a reason. They've got
from them?
Yeah, not really. They've retained a number of the personnel that were with them last year, so we're familiar with a number of their players there. One or two new additions to the squad. So yeah, we're sort of familiar with sort of how they operate, in attack and how they defend. So yeah, hopefully we'll have the answers to to not only challenge them but unlock them as well. But ultimately, we just need to make sure that we're showing a little bit more intent and purpose in our actions on Sunday, and just I want to see us, just competing a lot better than we did, 2 weeks ago.
As far as selection goes for you this week, you've still got a few suspensions with Jordan Thompson and Will Dagger.
Yes.
But Jesse D's back?
Correct. Yeah, Jesse D's back in the mixer this week, which is great.
And Richie Myler came off against Doncaster, so how's he?
Yeah, not in a great way, to be honest, Sharon. Unfortunately, he's had to undergo surgery. It was just late in the game. He's just fended off an opponent, and in the process of doing that, he's tore the ligament in his elbow. So, yeah, he's going to be out for a number of weeks. Probably, it could be anywhere from sort of 10 to 12 weeks with that one.
So where does that leave you with halfback options?
Well, we've still got Liam Harris out of Hingano that can play there. Jack Potter. Obviously, he has gone to Newcastle, but we have got the dual registration agreement, so we can dual reg back from Newcastle if we need to. So we've still got some halfback options there.
And mention Ata Hingano didn't play the full match at Doncaster, but he impressed you with that performance.
Yeah, I was really happy with that. I made sure I made that clear post game. I thought he made a big difference when he came on. Yeah, we've sort of looked to evolve his role this year into being a bit more of a ball playing 13 type role, and I'm really excited about that dynamic with him in that position. So again, but it was his first game back for a number of weeks, and we have to be smart with our players. It was important that we managed his minutes. And manage his workload, so ultimately we can keep him on the field and get the best out of him. So, we had to make that choice during the game to pull him off at a certain time, and then so again we'll keep building him up. over the coming weeks. But yeah, really impressed with how he returned and what he delivered for the team.
And Liam Harris missed that game, but from he's all right and available this weekend.
Yeah, so far he's ticking all the markers. So hopefully, fingers crossed, he comes through the rest of this week and he'll be available.
So we've heard this week that Nick Williams has been given a 4-match ban after that Doncaster game.
Yep.
Does that kick in immediately now?
It does indeed, yeah. So he won't be available, unfortunately, for this week.
How disappointing is it to lose him for 4 matches?
Yeah, really disappointing because, honestly, we went in there, we challenged the grading. I didn't think it was a grade E charge, if I'm honest, just due to the factors that we saw. We challenged that, but unfortunately, our defence, was overruled, I guess, and they stuck with the original charge, which we've got to accept, and we have to move on from that. So, yeah, disappointing because I know Nick Williams, he's got an exemplary record. He's never been guilty of anything like that. He's not that type of player. We're sort of obviously, it's sad to hear about Alex Sutcliffe and the injury he sustained. Whether it was through that collision or not, we don't know. But it's not good, and we do wish him a speedy recovery. But I certainly know, and I can put it on record, that Nick Williams certainly has not got into any contact with any intent to harm, and it's just an unfortunate thing that happened in the game. But ultimately, I understand the RFL's position too, that we have to, have a safe game for our players, especially with all the information that we have now been made aware of regarding head contacts, etc. So, yeah, there's no qualms from us. We had our beliefs on it. We presented that, put our best case forward. Unfortunately, the governing, the people in charge who had to make the final decision didn't see it that way. So we just got to cop that and move on.
So at this stage of the season now, hopefully it's going to be week-to-week matches and you're not going to have the gaps that you've had at the start of the year. How has it been disruptive, the sort of start that you've had with the cup competitions and weeks off?
To a degree, yeah. I mean, it's been different. It's a different sort of way to begin a season. Traditionally, you have all your friendlies and things in January, then you lead into the season, then your cup competitions sort of come through the season sometimes at a good time, especially if form's not great in the league, you can kind of really use the cup as a catalyst for you, sort of a little bit like what we did last year. Ultimately, sometimes it can be a good opportunity to have a look at other people in other positions, depending on how you treat the nature of the cup. And then obviously, if you're out of it, it gives you some weeks to freshen up as well. Whereas this, we're now got a 26-week grind now, I think, going back to back. So, yeah, it's going to test every squad in the championship, especially those that are semi-professional and part-time with players working, etc. There's not going to be too much respite, I guess, now from this point onwards. The fact that we're still in the 1895 Cup competition as well, again, means that we're going to have extra games to play. So, but we've got the squad there to manage that, and I'm sure we will. And we're looking forward to, like I said, hopefully bouncing back this week now.
And finally, you've mentioned about the dual registration agreement with Newcastle. Some players have gone permanently.
Yep.
Some have just gone on loan until the end. Some of the younger end of the squad have gone, so why have you let some of them go permanently?
To basically get them playing. I mean, the reality is for a lot of those younger players, it was important that they were with us to get a really good pre-season behind them, and get that sort of attention to detail and working with better level of players to improve them and their development. But ultimately, what we don't want is now them sat there for the next sort of 10, 12, 15 weeks without playing. That's the facts, So there was an opportunity there to build a partnership with Newcastle. And obviously we've effectively released some players, but because we have the dual registration agreement in place, we can dual register players back from Newcastle to us. It works both ways. So there's an opportunity there. If we do want to look at some of those younger guys at certain points of the season, we can bring them back. We are still very much in contact with those players. They get to come in and see us. They get their reviews and stuff. So they're getting a good level of service from both clubs. But the main thing is they have to be playing. Like, these kids need to be playing. Like, too many of them have missed games through the COVID period. They've missed 2 years of development there. They've then come back into an academy reserve system, playing one game every sort of 2 or 3 weeks. Some games are sometimes getting called off. There hasn't been the structure of competition that probably they would have hoped for, or anybody would have hoped for. So, we can't afford these young players not getting games. So, and then on the flip side, it does give us an opportunity where we can dual reg up to 4 players to Newcastle each week. So if everybody is healthy and we need 1 or 2 getting games, or a couple are coming back from long-term injuries and we need to get their confidence up back playing again, we've got that option to send them up there to help Newcastle, but also help our players too. So personally, I think the partnership's great. I think it works for us for where we're currently at. I think it's a great development opportunity for all parties. All good, mate. Yeah.
Hendo, after that defeat to Doncaster on the opening day, have you been pleased with the players' reaction in training and getting back to it?
Yeah, we have been, Gabriel. We've basically, obviously, we addressed things on the Tuesday after the game. It was some honest conversation there. We just talked through it, had a look at it, asked some questions of ourselves, and then I think the response, off the back of that has been really positive. They've really got stuck in. We're able to put a little bit more workload into them, obviously with having no game the weekend. So we did one or two things a little bit differently too, which was great. So I thought the response from the players last week was great, and so far coming back into this week, there's been a really good energy around the place. I can tell that they want to right the wrongs.
Having reviewed the match now, were there any positions that you perhaps felt could be improved on?
Oh yeah, look, I just think our overall sort of energy, intent, purpose, interaction. Certainly the way we started the game too. I think we could have improved that. Again, defensively, we got found out a couple of times on a couple of plays, but a lot of it for me stemmed off, probably that contact tackle management area. We just didn't manage the contact area well enough. But again, that for me come down to the fact that we didn't have that energy or that intent or purpose in what we were doing. So it all has a knock-on effect for me, and it's just really important as well that as a coach that you look at that game, there's probably so many areas that we could be better in, but it's just important that we just narrow that focus and make sure we just get one or two things as our focal points to improve and build off the back of that.
You've now got Toulouse coming up at the weekend. How important is it for you that your side do bounce back from that opening day defeat?
Yeah, well what it's the result. Yes, we want the result, of course, but the biggest thing for me that we need to focus on this week is just getting a performance. I feel that we've lacked a real consistency in the 6 games that we've played so far. We've seen some good patches here and there in a couple of games, not so good in other games. We've seen some great competitive spirit, in certainly in the Sheffield game in particular. But then on the flip side, some of the stuff we did, discipline-wise, was way off. So we just haven't been able to get that consistency in performance in the last 6 weeks. So that's got to be our focus. This week is just let's show a little bit more energy and intent, and let's really focus on delivering a good team performance. Hopefully the result takes care of itself, but if it doesn't, then at least if we get a lot of positives out of the game with our performance levels, it'll give us something to build on going forward.
Coming up against a Toulouse team who also fell to defeat on the opening day of the season, do you think this could be a case of 2 teams just clashing heads in this match? Or?
Yeah, well, like you said, both teams will be determined. Reason they've got an abundance of Super League experience in that team, some really good quality players, and they're a full-time team as well. So they've got a lot of things going for them. But ultimately, we're confident if we can reach the performance levels that we set here, and that I know that we're capable of delivering as well, then we'll really challenge Toulouse.
You've already confirmed to Sharon that Liam Harris will be back available. What do you think your captain can bring to your side this weekend?
What he'll bring is a calmness, composure, organisation, and he'll lead his men well. So, that's what he brings. He's a quality player, quality individual person. But again, he's an important part of our team.
And Brendan Santa, how is he recovering since his diagnosis?
Yeah, so he obviously came off against Oldham with a calf tear. So he's recovering. Hopefully only be a few more weeks, but I can't give a definitive timeline on it. It's all just how they progress with their rehab and the recovery. But yeah, he's recovering from a calf tear at the moment.
You spoke on the new partnership with Newcastle. What was the thinking behind sending Taylor Pemberton out there? Because many people would have hoped to see him sort of amongst the Knights first team. Yeah, we just needed a game. He's not, he hasn't been in the team there for a couple of weeks. So we just thought, here's an opportunity. We've got no game this weekend. You need some game time. We need to keep sharpening the sword, so to speak. So Taylor knows where he's at. He's got some areas. We've had those sit down 1-to-1s, and he's got some areas he needs to work on and improve from what we saw in the pre-season and early in those cup games. So. He knows what areas he's got to work on, so he's got to go there and deliver on that and earn his way back into the team. Last thing for me, over the last couple of weeks there's been talks towards a championship sort of TV deal. Have you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm always welcome to, bring in more coverage to the sport and exposure to the sport. So I'm all up for it. I don't know the details behind it and what they're proposing and what time slots and what days or whatever. But I certainly believe if we have got that coverage, I think it's great for the sport. It certainly helps clubs, especially commercially, because again, when you're sort of selling your commercial packages, you can obviously say that, hey, we're getting coverage on TV every week. It'll help generate a little bit more income that way. But for me, it's more about exposing our great sport. The more coverage we get at whatever level is great for me. And if more people get the opportunity to see our game, and then great for me.